Brendan, great to have you with us. Great to speak with you.
Thanks for having me today.
This is an extension of a deal that you already had with the Novartis unit Sandoz, and this buys you global distribution. So how does this break out in terms of what you gain and what Sandoz gains?
So currently our agreement is for Canada. However, Tilray products are available in 12 countries on 5 continents. And so this agreement enables us to partner with Sandoz, which is a division of Novartis globally, to ensure that our products get into the hands of more patients around the world.
Does this cover existing jurisdictions where cannabis is legal as well as future jurisdictions? Is that written into the agreement?
That's exactly right. So when I started in this industry 8 years ago, there were 15 countries in the world that had legalized medical cannabis. Today, there are more than 35. It's really clear to me that we go from 35 to 40 to 50, 60 countries around the world in the next 24 to 36 months. And so this, this agreement enables us to use the Sandoz supply chain and sales force and distribution network to ensure that we can enter new markets globally at a much faster pace.
I would imagine this lets you get off the hook, so to speak, from having to invest in those infrastructures around the world, especially as jurisdictions open up. I mean, is there an estimate in terms of how much you save, and are you giving up a % of revenue to Sandoz?
So it's impossible to calculate how much we'll save. They have an existing pharmaceutical network and an existing supply chain, and so it will get us into new markets faster. We also will be able to use their sales force to educate physicians and pharmacists around the world. In every country other than Canada, our products are available in pharmacies, and so there's a lot of education that has to be done to educate both pharmacists and physicians when entering a new market.
I thought that was the most interesting part of the release, Brendan, the aspect of education. How much resistance is there still today to cannabis-related treatments for various illnesses?
There's not a lot of resistance. Most doctors in most countries around the world recognize the medical properties of cannabis. There is a lot of education that needs to be done around formulations, the right conditions, the right dosage for individual patients. And by partnering with a division of Novartis called Sandoz, we're able to co-brand our non-combustible products like we do in Canada, where the products say Tilray and they also say Sandoz, a Novartis division, on the actual products. That brand inspires confidence and trust with physicians around the world. They recognize that brand, and that enables us to further educate those physicians and pharmacists when they see that logo.
So there are lots of companies, consumer products companies, spirit, wine and spirits companies, tobacco companies that are interested in the marijuana space. You've chosen to partner up with a medical company, a drug company. What does that say about what you think your mission is as a corporate leader? And second, what you think the marketplace is going to be for cannabis-related products? In other words, is this a bet that the medical side of this world is going to be the bigger, more profitable one than the recreational side of the world?
We're betting on both. We believe in both. Like I said, 8 years ago, there were 15 countries in the world that had legalized medical cannabis. Today, there are 35. In 2 years, I predict 60 or 70 countries, and that's a very clear, knowable growth path. What is unknown is we have 2 countries in the world, Uruguay and Canada, that have legalized cannabis for adult use. We know that a few other countries are talking about legalizing cannabis for adult use, but it's really impossible to predict when those countries would legalize. And so I can't actually predict the growth of that market. And so we're betting on this global pharmaceutical market, knowing that there will be an emerging adult.
Because that's here and now.
It's knowable.
And it's knowable.
That's exactly right. That's right.
At the same time, in terms of the unknowable, Brendan, I mean, there is a lot of lobbying being done by cannabis companies, and it sounds like your company is sort of gearing up. You've hired Howard Dean, the former RNC head, Michael Steele, a former DNC head, as well as a couple of ministers from Australia and Germany. Where are the biggest fights, in your view, in terms of the legalization of cannabis?
I think Europe is where we will see the most growth over the shortest time period. We'll see the number of countries in Europe go from 15 to 28 in terms of legalization of medical cannabis. I also think we'll likely see a country like Mexico, which came very close to legalizing for adult use through the judiciary branch of their government a few weeks ago. They could be the third country. New Zealand announced yesterday that there will be a referendum to legalize cannabis for adult use in 2020. And so it's hard to predict where these battles will take place. Countries are legalizing very quickly. The United Kingdom legalized really in about an 8-week period in June and July earlier this year. And so in many ways, while it feels like things are progressing quickly in the United States and Canada, the velocity of change outside of North America is much faster, in my opinion, than inside of North America.
Yeah. Brendan, always great to speak with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Brendan Kennedy, the CEO of Tilray, which is up right now by 18%.